Everyone, and welcome to another JellyPod episode. Today, I'm here with Anon from SyncAI. Now, SyncAI has been building in Cardano for a while now, and they have a bunch of different stuff coming soon, such as their AI governance hub, which we're going to be talking about in this video, as well as learning a little bit more about Anon and his journey. And like some of the other founders I've had on the podcast, I've actually met Anon in person. I think we had met back in Singapore for Token 49 and, that whole crazy time. So it was nice being able to meet you in person and learn a little bit more, like, I guess, face to face. But yeah, dude, today we just want to kind of go into your life, how you actually got into Web3 and crypto, and a little bit more about what Sync is doing. So welcome to the podcast, Adnan. And yeah, bro, like what's your journey? How did you get into the crypto space and now building in the AI?
Yeah, first of all, yeah. Hey, Jason, and everyone who is tuning in right now. And first of all, thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Always, the energy is high, and just I enjoy conversing with you. So, yeah, myself, Adnan. I come from India, and academics wise, my journey has been, I've majored in machine learning and data science, and then just after my university was over, I always had that sort of a mind that I want to build things on my own. I was not that kind of a mindset where I have to work or slog 9 to 5. So of course, Web3 seemed pretty interesting. I discovered Bitcoin, then slowly Cardano, especially because of the similarities between UTXOs and stuff like that. So I ended up working with multiple startups because it was like a pretty great opportunity to learn as a product architect, because that's where my passion is. How to build things which can be really life changing for the end users, or how do we actually elevate the experience of end user. So I ended up working on that front, and then I got interested on the research side as well, where on the tech research part. So I worked as a research partner at a Web3 venture capital firm, where again, I got the chance to interact with a lot of founders across the world. So after that, after getting all the exposure from every side of things, from all the areas in Web3, whether it's finance, whether it's governance, etc. I kind of got some idea in my mind that the space needs some improvement in terms of user experience, and before AI was even like mainstream, we started devising a proper plan on how we can actually use like large language models and AI in general to solve this major issue in a lot of different areas. So that has been the pretty much the journey from where I started, and slowly the progression towards this product that I have found at SyncAI Network. Yeah.
Awesome. And I know that you said you were from India, and we actually had this conversation in person. And I thought it was really interesting about how you're in one of the tech and development hubs there. Can you kind of talk us a little bit about what's going on in India when it comes to development and blockchain, and a little bit about like where you're at? I just find it fascinating.
Yeah, sure. So basically, if you go back in history, India, capitalized a lot on the dot-com boom, that kind of era where a lot of IT companies from the West were popping up. And what they needed was, more of like a workforce that can work like for more hours and for less cost, because of the purchase power parity. So India like really capitalized on few cities to build like Silicon Valleys of India, if you can say that. So I live in one of the such areas. It's called Hyderabad. You'll find offices of all the major multinational corporations, be it product side like Google, Amazon, Facebook, Meta, or even like on the big fours like Deloitte or like Accenture, all these big companies. So I live in this particular sector, and what it has done is that it brought that sort of a technical crowd into a single area. So you'll see a lot of talented developers across this region. And of course, when blockchain started becoming popular, like Polygon was from India, Sandeep, he's from another city like this called Bangalore. So they started really capitalizing on, creating this sort of like a wave of Web3 developers. And then Solana came, and it was like pretty uh, wild. There are a lot of developers participating in hackathons, building cool stuff and things like that. So, but cool thing which happened is like it motivated a lot of Web2 developers to even venture in Web3 and started their own products. So it kind of started a wave where we started seeing a lot of startups coming out of these regions. And at that time we also started. Cardano has very little to no recognition in the Indian space. So we started hosting hackathons. We started hosting Cardano Summit, and slowly people started knowing. And just the last Cardano Summit, we had around 400 people participating. So it was like pretty insane to see that. And we have a lot of developers that have been working, in our friend companies and stuff like that, that have been working in a lot of Cardano projects on the uh, backstage, if you can say that. So yeah, things have improved a lot. And yeah, I'm also based in the same city of Hyderabad, capitalizing on the same thing. So yeah, but the crowd here is incredible. You'll not see another parallel like this anywhere in the world.
Man, that's really so. When it comes to those Cardano summits, like just to clarify, essentially in India, a lot of blockchain tech, a lot of developers in the area that you're in, a lot of innovations. And like no
Mhm.
one really in the Indian community really knew or messed or developed on Cardano too much. And
Yeah.
then you guys from your end, you just started saying, hey, we're going to like create whole entire events and meetups for this.
Yeah, so the idea was when Cardano just started, the problem was, of course, developer tooling. It was a pretty different sort of an architecture compared to EVM, and the most of the developing crowd in India was familiar with EVM sort of an architecture. But when we started seeing tools like Mesh.js and which kind of replicated the same sort of like developer experience, which is like in the EVM. That's where we thought, we can start doing workshops. So we conducted multiple workshops before our hackathons to educate developers in such five major cities of India, which you can call these, tech hubs. And we started inviting a lot of students from, the best universities, and started training them, giving them all the resources, and invited them to build projects. And so far, it has been almost like 1,500, more than 1,500 developers participated in our last hackathon. And our next hackathon is going to come this year very soon. And then in middle of that, we hosted Cardano Summit also. So it became like pretty official that, Cardano is here. And it gave like a very, it kind of gave like a open ground for people who were actually kind of frustrated from the EVM projects, because uh, a lot of projects died down there because of the entire mindset of pumps and dumps. New blockchains came and vanished, and the competition also increased. So these developers are not getting that much recognition on those spaces. So it kind of was like a open bridge between them and Cardano. So that really helped a lot. And then we still have like those groups created. People still ask doubts, and we already hired like a lot of developers from that crowd itself. So most of our team is, the technical part of the team is from among those developers who kind of participated at a very early stages, and now they're like extremely good.
And have any of them started building products on Cardano like that are like public that people know about? Or
Uh,
like what are they doing on Cardano?
Yeah, so basically, the age group or the segment that we targeted was mostly like college students, because it kind of helps if they get in early at that stage. Uh, and then slowly progresses towards becoming like full blown engineers. So kind of like they're extremely young guys, like all of them are below 25. So they haven't really started anything on their own yet, but I am, seeing whispers. So we might started seeing a lot of good projects coming from a lot of Indian developers. Of course, there are Indian founders in Cardano. Cardano's scan team, they're extremely great guys. Ashish and the entire Striker team, they have been building a lot of products. But yeah, we have been coaching few teams who won our hackathon last year, and they did deliver like pretty great stuff. But of course, to bring it in a production level environment, I think they'll need us some more time to actually get the complete understanding of how to start project, how to handle marketing, operations, and a lot of things involved. So yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, there's a million things, and like, not, it's not just developing something, but actually getting the users to use it and understanding the market. I mean, it is a lot of different factors into developing some sort of product. And speaking of products, like, what is Sync AI? If for someone, for people that are listening that don't know anything about this, like, what's the 2 minute rundown, 1 2 minute rundown of what you guys are trying to do?
Yeah, right. So, in short, right now, Sync AI is the epicenter where we work at the interaction of Web3 and AI. That's like the short definition. But if you want to elongate on that, the idea was very firmly based on the fact that in coming future, large language models and AI in general and blockchains will be working in like a perfect sync, like how we have seen in web 2. Like web 2 adoption of AI models have been drastic, like it has been insane. So we are kind of applying the same sort of like analogy to web 3 space. And what is going to happen is these large language models or AI models are going to work with a lot of Web3 systems to create the seamless, intelligent, intuitive, and empowering Web3 experiences for everyone, basically. So we wanted to be at the forefront of that, acting as a catalyst, making it even more accessible, starting from Cardano. So that's the goal that we have been working since the start, to build products that can essentially merge this gap, which can bring AI and all of the Web3 use cases that blockchain has given to the world, on how to make it even more intuitive, more interesting. So it can drive adoption to a whole new level. So that's like the small short pitch of what do we do actually, and we have a lot of products that are working towards the same goal under the SyncAI umbrella.
Yeah, and can you like get into some of those products of things that you've been working on, because you guys have been at least public on Cardano for over 6 months now, I
Yeah.
believe. You guys started off with some different ID stuff, and now you're working on a lot of governance. Like, what all have you guys built so far, and what are you starting to focus on next?
Yeah, let me start with the journey actually when we started. So, we started with the idea of building an entire network on top of Cardano, which can essentially give people identities, and through those identities, people can actually interact with DeFi or major sectors in the Cardano space in a much more intelligent manner. Using the help of AI, you can execute orders just using natural language. Hey, can you copy XYZ whale for me? Here is my amount. Or hey, can you take orders based on volume spikes or XYZ, things like that. But that time, of course, you have to respect the markets also. At that moment, the wave was much more oriented towards the fun and meme element of AI. So we kind of paused that down. We thought, it's not the right time for this kind of a product. So we, really sat back on the drawing board and started thinking, where AI can actually be extremely useful. What's that area? And we concluded that it's governance, because the major problem is in governance there is just too much to absorb. Like It's a
Mm.
governance of an entire network. It's $1 billion treasury that you have to govern. And there is a system in place where every ADA holder can participate in the system of spending or controlling that treasury. So how do we actually solve this information crisis, and how do we solve the problem of voter fatigue where the information is scattered in so many places? For example, if a proposal comes and it is technical, where it revolves around certain protocol parameters, as a normal user who is not from the technical background, how do you actually evaluate that proposal, or even voice your opinions on the social media or on different channels? How do you make the entire decision making process easier? So we thought, this is a huge problem, and we have seen kind of glimpses of this in Project Catalyst, because there are so many proposals in one catalyst round that it just becomes nearly impossible for a single person to take out time from their busy lives and go and study everything and then make their decisions. So that's where we thought we should start building something in the governance side, because there is an actual need, there's a product market fit. And that's where we started building a DREP AI agent. So the entire idea was that this agent will have the knowledge of the entire Cardano, space, be it all the documentation, be it all the tooling, be it the protocol itself, be it all the research papers, what's happening latest in Cardano, what proposals are coming live, how many DREPs are live, what are the rationals that are coming. So it is clubbed with the entire knowledge in one place. Now, what it does is you can actually delegate to this DREP, who is an AI agent, and it is programmed to reason autonomously. It is programmed to vote autonomously. What you can do, you can go right there right now, whether you have delegated it or not. You just need a Cardano wallet. You can connect to it. It is available 24/7. You can see what all governance actions are live at the moment. Select one governance actions, and it will give you a complete rundown what that governance action is about, what sort of an impact it will have on Cardano, and based on all the points, what the agent is considering in terms of decision, whether to vote yes, no, or abstain from this proposal. And you can read all of that. And if you are being, if you are delegating to this agent, you can even ask more information, of course, if you are confused about certain things. And after reviewing the entire response, if you agree with it, you can there is a simple voting icon just below the response. Do you agree with the agent's response or not? You can vote yes or no. And if you vote no, you can actually provide entire reasoning to the agent that hey, I think you're wrong at this. I think your reasoning has some flaw, or it can be anything. It can be a simple ideological disagreement as well. And the agent will actually collect the votes from its delegators, collect all the opinions, and right in the that 72 hours window from the proposal is live, it will make its final decision based on all of the outputs, whether to vote yes, no, or abstain, and then it will vote on all the delegators' behalf. So the entire process becomes much more intuitive. If you compare it with a human DREP, human DREPs are not available 24/7. It's not humanly possible. They are not available to actually converse or resolve your queries at all times. They might not even have the entire knowledge compared to what this agent has. So it's a much greater way to participate in the governance part of it. Now this is our DREP agent part. We thought we can apply the same concepts to a larger area as well, and that's where we started building a governance hub. So what this governance hub is like, it consolidates all the things required for Cardano governance at a single place, because that has been a major problem. So when you actually visit the app, it's not live yet, it's coming very soon. So keep an eye on the announcement. But you can, if anyone is interested, they can see the entire product video on our Twitter. So yeah, coming back to the app. So when you actually enter the app, the system identifies your wallet, whether you are a DREP, SPO, or you are a delegator whom you are delegating to, and within a click, it assigns you your personal group based on your delegation. So there are two kinds of group. There is an intra group and there is an inter group. Intra groups are for DREPs and SPOs internal groups. So if I'm delegating to you, Jason, I will be automatically pushed in your group where my fellow delegators who have been delegating to you as a DREP and you as an admin will be present in that chat group. And the UI is pretty slick, like it's comparable to Discord and Telegram, where you can converse, you can debate, you can even call the agent. So all the chats have this agent deployed, and you can even fact check if someone is trying to FUD or something. You can even fact check their message, because this agent comes with the entire knowledge of all things about Cardano. You can even use the agent to break down complex concepts in the chat itself. So it's the same for intra SP also. And then there is a group for only admins, where all the DREPs are there conversing, where all the SPOs are there conversing, constitutional committee members. And then we have broadcast channels from the founding entities like Intersect can push messages, or Cardano Foundation, or even IOHK. So this is the chat side of things. And then we have polling. So once there is a governance action live on chain, there is an automatic poll in all the groups that uh, allowing DREPs and SPOs to collect insights from their own delegators, like what do you want me to represent.
Hmm.
Do you want me to vote yes, or do you want me to no? Vote no. Provide your rationale. Every delegator can provide their vote with their rationale. So as a DREP, I get a complete picture what my community is thinking about it. And you can even do custom polls also. So if you want to, if anyone wants to actually publish a governance action on chain, they can first conduct a voting, get feedback, get all the insights, and then craft their governance action. Now this is the actual actionable part. The second part is, right now I still feel it's very hard to choose your DREP or SPO who you want to delegate. So we are building an explore page where in the search icon you can search DREPs or SPOs based on the attributes. For example, you can search like, hey, can you get me all Japanese DREPs? So it kind of converts that natural language query, compares with all the metadata of DREPs, and brings you just Japanese DREPs. Or you can even modify the query based on ADA delegated, or based on maybe ideological mindset. If some DREP is more centrist, or a more conservative sort of a nature, or more like on the liberal side of it. And then you can go to these DREP profiles. You can see the entire history of what they have voted, their rationale, and you can even see that they conducted a poll for this proposal, and the community voted this with this kind of a sentiment. But the DREP has not represented the community and have voted opposite to what their community was saying. So it kind of gives you like the complete picture of the entire DREP profile. Same with SPOs, same with constitution committee members. And then we have very cool pages for budget and constitution, where you can see the entire budget proposals, the entire latest constitution, and for each line of blog you can post comments. All the delegators can post comments, what do they think about that particular line or things like that. So now in a single place you have access to every single thing that is required for governance. So that's the idea. And of course there's one more insights page where you can actually select proposals, and you can see the sentiment analysis of all the DREPs. What Okay, DREPs have supported 90%, 98% of DREPs have voted yes on this proposal. Here is why. You get a 4-line rundown of why did they vote yes. And same with SPOs. And you get another block where you see, how this proposal will impact Cardano. You see a rundown there of how this proposal is going to impact Cardano, and you kind of you can match it with the responses of DREPs in the consolidated manner. And there are a lot of things in the inside space also. What are the trends, what all DREPs have been active in the last few proposals. Is Are we seeing a voter fatigue, or from the DREP side or from the delegator side, are people actually delegating, what's the trends looking like. So you get like a complete picture of the governance health dashboard. We're calling it like that. So yeah, there will be a lot of things like
Bro, I was just saying, like, as you were saying everything, that is a lot to unpack there. I mean, it sounds like you guys have identified this massive upcoming issue with governance, especially as this treasury unlocks. And that's, how does the average person actually stay on top of all of these different proposals and have the tools and resources to know what they're voting for, and to know what is actually going on. And you guys are essentially creating this sort of governance hub and platform where people not only can have their agents go through these different proposals, give them all the information, resources, run down their personal thoughts as an agent with all of that data, but then on top of that, it increases the transparency of what these different D reps are voting for. It helps people identify different D reps that they want to allocate to, all of these different insights of the proposals that are passing, some of their highlights. I mean, this is like a fully fledged system where you're taking something very complex that people can't take a part of most of the time, and not only helping those individuals, but also helping those individuals when it comes to the different D reps that they want to delegate to, and also tracking the transparency and progress that they're doing. Is that pretty much what you guys are trying to solve?
yeah, that's pretty much. And of course, there will be like small features. You can tip your delegators. You know, the concept of D-reps getting paid, D-rep compensation. So you can tip your D-reps. You can tip your SPOs. Like there are a lot of small things that will make governance even much more fun, intuitive, intelligent, and which will motivate people to actually participate. So yeah, that's the general idea that we are working towards.
Man, and what made you guys decide to tackle this? Because this is like, this almost feels like something that Charles or the higher ups at Cardano should be building to support that. Like, what made you guys decide to do this?
Like the same motivation behind because we actually wanted to build something which will be really used by people, which can really solve some of the most pressing issues. And with the constitution, constitution became live just after our IDO. And there are a lot of talks that how this space is going to evolve. There's a lot of confusion, still there's a lot of confusion about a lot of things. Not everyone understands all the concepts and things like that. And particularly as a as a project that have participated in Catalyst a lot of times before, we see some of the problems from our end as well, that how much operational complexity can be when you're managing such interconnected system of so many people who are governing a treasury with certain set of rules. So how do we not make the same mistakes from the past? How do we not make the same mistakes which Dodge, that Elon Musk's organization has been trying to solve? So how do we make it accessible? How do we make it intelligent? How do we make everyone to actually come and participate in governance? And we thought we have a very good edge because of our expertise in AI. We can actually push from that end. And then we thought, okay, it just started with like chat and agents, then we just kept building onto it. We did a lot of calls with like multiple D-reps from people from Intersect. And now that's it was not like and the work of one night. It was actually like a long process, and we'll still keep adding more and more features. I'm very excited to actually announce the date very soon. You might see an announcement coming this week or early next week. So yeah.
I was gonna say that was one of my next questions. Is a lot of this already built out, and this is all going to be live when you guys release the governance hub?
Yeah, most of it, like almost 90% of it is built. You can see the demo again in our profile, SyncAI underscore network. There are multiple demos, UI screens, how it is working in live. And if you have any ideas or anything like that, feel free to DM us or even join our Discord. And we will be very happy to actually take that forward.
Nice. And now I'm curious as sort of your guys' position on this. Is there any sort of monetization that you guys are having on this platform to kind of sustain? Because I can't imagine all these servers being cheap and like running all these AI computations and then, all of the development in it. Is this like, how are you guys, I guess, generating revenue with this product?
Yeah, so the idea is to go with a freemium model kind of a strategy, where the first thing more than revenue, because revenue will come later on if the adoption is in the right manner. So we want this platform to get adopted as much as possible, and then we do have plans to monetize it. We have few models that we might deploy, like for premium users. How generally apps like Telegram or even Discord will work. So that's the general idea, but we are not in rush towards that. So we do have our own runway that can sustain this application for very long. So our main motive as of right now is adoption, and then we build on top of it. Yeah.
Exciting. And do you know when the first sort of proposals are going to start going out on Cardano?
In regards to
In
uh,
regards to like the treasury.
okay, treasury, yeah. I think it's going to be very soon. There are a lot of different budgets for apps like this, so we will be, keeping an eye on that. We did a call with interesting people, and uh, we don't have like a exact idea of the date, but it is coming extremely soon. So
Yeah.
we will see a lot of good projects getting funded from the treasury, and I think now we have much more, complex and a great system basically with due diligence and a lot of things involved. So we will see a very a lot of quality projects.
Yeah, that was one of my, major concerns where, in one sense this treasury unlocking and being under community control is awesome, and that's really where Cardano's direction was since, the beginning. I also know that it's hard to make these sort of systems work and to make sure that people aren't doing what's in their own self interest than the chain. And I think that's an interesting place where SyncAI can come in, because you're making it easier for the average person to actually know what's going on.
Yeah,
And I think that's very important, because even in this last Catalyst round, I can't remember if it was Emergo or which foundation it was, but their vote decided the outcome of the last Catalyst alone.
yeah,
Like if you
and
got voted by them, you got approved, and if you didn't make it. So it's one of those situations where there needs to be significantly more voting from the
exactly.
actual communities. Otherwise, you're just going to have one entity run the whole show, like what just happened. Now, I'm curious on in your standpoint, how do you believe we can actually get more people to vote on Cardano? I know that was like part of the D-rep sort of idea, but like what's sort in your opinion, how do we actually drive more people to get involved?
Yeah, so of course, like the number one, as I already told, is ease of access. So that's the first thing, where people should not feel that they should not feel like they're out of the picture because they lack certain amount of knowledge. Personally, like I won't take names, but I have interacted to like good peoples who have certain voice in Cardano, and they themselves feel, they haven't like really said it, but you can sense it. They don't really feel that they kind of belong in there, because there's a lack of accessibility, there's a lack of knowledge, and there's too much to absorb. So how do we bridge this gap even for like a normal user, like for normal community members and the entire governance process? So that's the one thing. Second thing that we have been thinking a lot on some sort of like an experimentation on how we can make governance more fun. So if you've used Reddit has something called a karma system, where you get points if you're active in the app, if you're replying or if you're liking the
Mm.
post or things like that. So we just thought, create. We were thinking to create some sort of an algorithm for our application, which can create certain categories which will be defined by the activeness in the governance process. So it can be, if you have voted on the poll, or if you have provided your rationale, or if you have discussed about a certain topic, or if you have posted your opinions about the budget, or it can be like a set of different rules, or if you have been delegating or something like that. And based on this, based on the activity on chain and activity on the app, we give them certain points. We create a leaderboard out of it. For dedups different, for delegators different, for SPOs different. And we start thinking on how do we actually monetize this. Now we have data, so it's a very valuable data, uh, a data of people who are very actively participating in governance, who are very key people. So how do we incentivize them or even monetize this data in a fair manner? So we have been, thinking on how we can do it in the most transparent way possible. Maybe, how Catalyst has done it previously. Like, if you are voting actively, you get certain airdrop. So it's still in talks, but I think something like this can be even more engaging. Yeah, it might motivate a lot of people to actually come and explore the governance area, the area that is locked right now, like in millions and millions of dollars, that is not actively participating in the governance. So I feel it might uh, help in bringing some of the flow, at least like start with a few percentage and we keep building on top of it. We want to see like how this experimentation would go. So it is part of the later stage once we release our platform. So but we are thinking a lot about that as well.
And is your goal with, because I know SyncAI has gone through some evolutions over time, is your goal to come out with this governance hub and then just like keep focusing on it and that's kind of the main focus of SyncAI? Or is this just one of the products that you're going to ship out a great product and then you're going to be developing, other things related to AI? Like what's kind of your roadmap or plan?
Yeah, so it is indeed one of the core products that we are building as of right now, but it will not be just one product, because Sync AI, think it of as an umbrella company that focuses on building AI solutions. So this will be our most extensive product till now, that is going to be released. But once it is done, it's perfectly aligned, that it can survive with our development, or what, we don't know like what will happen in the future. We might even create a DAO to actually run this platform, or maybe get something from treasury to automate everything, things like that. But there will be more products that will be coming for the space related to AI. So we do have a lot of plans to actually go in the DeFi space as well. But as of right now, for the next maybe couple of months, we will be completely focused on this and get it done very right, so it can see greater adoption.
I think that's smart too, because one of the things I notice with different projects, I've even noticed this with myself, is when you
Mhm.
try tackling too many things at the same time, you end up with a lot of half-baked solutions that don't like really solve the need or have that product market fit. But I think what's interesting in your guys' situation is you saw this massive problem, especially timing wise with, the treasury unlocking. You saw a need for it from the community and people talking about it, and it's like, okay, this is a product that is needed, that we have the ability to actually develop, that we have the AI background as well as other resources and connects in India. We're used to, the Cardano ecosystem. Let's build this, let's focus on this, let's make sure this is really good and running well, and then you can expand to other things rather than trying to do everything at the same time. So I think that prioritization that you guys had made sense. And it sounds like the governance hub route also makes a lot of sense in the fact that, once again, it's needed. And I haven't really seen anyone else really working on solutions for this. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and I am curious because like going back to the AI side for the governance hub, you were talking about how the AI can kind of reason and give sort of an output of its opinion. Without getting too technical here, how is it actually giving an opinion? Like, is it personalized to different individuals' preferences of the things that they value, or like how is it actually coming up with its take on it?
Yeah, so the reasoning part is mostly relevant to our first product, which is the AI DREP, because there you need a fixed decision to make, right? So what we have done is like the AI, we deploy something called chain of thought. So it's a popular concept in large language models where the system kind of forces the model to reason again and again based on certain conditions. Because we have seen the problem that basically how large language models works is they kind of predict the next word or the next sentence, or it works on prediction purely. So, but if you kind of help it reason its output again and again based on certain things, then you will see a very high quality reasoned output that is coming from a context, that is coming from an area where it have the context of all the things. Just for a simple example, uh, if a proposal is talking about changing a certain uh, protocol parameter, or proposing a certain change, now the agent itself has the knowledge about that certain topic in extremely vast manner, because it have the data of the Cardano initial docs, of how the Cardano is structured, of Ouroboros mechanism. It have entire things, so it can bring that information in that in that process, and try to compare, or try to will force the model to reason with that information and again whether it does make sense or not. And it actually also compares with multiple case studies, that if we change certain kind of if we change, like if Satoshi Nakamoto coefficient, like Nakamoto coefficient is changed, what sort of impact it does have on a wider distributed system. So it kind of have those knowledge in place. So based on all these data endpoints, it creates one reasoned output, what it is thinking in terms of the outcomes of this proposal, and whether it is making sense or no. And that's how we kind of force the model to bring out a specific output, and it sticks to it, and it sticks to its reasoned output. But we are allowing the flexibility to actually change the opinion based on the delegator inputs. So if you are a delegator, you can actually debate with the model. You can debate with the agent. Hey, I think you're wrong with this XYZ point. Uh, as in according to my opinion, it should be this. So okay, it will take your discussion in place, and it will store in its memory, and it will see what other delegators are trying uh, to if they're saying the same thing on similar lines. It will actually sit back and think, okay, now we have certain data that is challenging my data, and it seems more strong. So in that case, it will change its decision. So it's representing the best of coming from the knowledge and coming from the personal human input. So it kind of combines that, and then casts its final vote.
Dude, I find a lot of this really fascinating because I don't come from a developer background at all. But just like trying to understand how these AI models work is really interesting to me. For those that don't know anything about sort of how these different AI models work, what is your sort of suggestion for them to actually learn and get updated on this? Because that's like, and I know that's like a big question to ask, but
Now I
it
have
almost
a
seems
cool
like
answer.
this like freaking massive bubble of like stuff that's constantly changing. Like, how are you guys staying up to date on it? And, how would you recommend someone else to get involved? Or is it one of those things where if you're trying to learn, like you're just gonna have to jump into this massive rabbit hole because there's no like slow. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, I get it. It's overwhelming, but I have a very short answer for that. There is a guy called Andrich Karapathy. He is from Stanford. He have worked for Tesla. He have worked also for Google and Meta. He is like an AI god, and he have a YouTube channel where he have a I think 3 hour video on how LLMs work. It's very dumbed down for normal users. So if anyone is interested, please go to that video, see it.
What's
We'll
his name
be
again? Andrew what?
Andrich Karpathy. I'm going to put it.
Andridge
I'll put it in
Kapathy.
chat here. Yeah, Andrich Karpathy. So yeah, you can see this guy's videos. He's absolutely freaking insane. Like they're so good. And if you have any doubts, you can actually pause the video. Take those concepts, ask ChatGPT to even break it down even more for you if you can't understand certain things, and just spend a week on just that video itself, and you'll get the knowledge which more than 95% of people who claims that know AI on social media don't have. So you'll have.
Okay, dude, I appreciate you sharing this to me because it's something that I've been wanting to get way more heavy into. So I just subscribed to him. I'm gonna watch some of that. But dude, we're heading towards the end of the podcast. One question I had, because I had some from our community too, is you guys made like a tweet maybe I don't know, a week or two ago, saying that you guys don't have like plans for the sync token right now. Um, like, are you guys eventually going to have like do a sale in the future for the sync token? Like, what's kind of the idea behind that? And yeah.
Yeah, so our last product documentation and the certain systems, or the certain part of our application that we already built, it's still there. And there's a team which is always working on the sidelines, keeping it updated. Now we have like we have seen like pretty great adoption, sorry, not adoption, but improvements in the AI sector, in the developer tooling in the AI sector. So there's something called MCPs now, Model Context Protocol. So it's basically a system where you can convert any sort of application, any Web2 app, any Web3 app, and convert it into a specific set of tools that can be uh, accessible by any large language model, and you can deploy an agent on top of that, so that agent can now control an entire application. So there are a lot of interesting things happening, and there's a team working on that part. So you can maybe optimize like whole DeFi space, or you're like you can like do anything with it. People are doing absolutely bonkers stuff with Web2 apps, like they're controlling Adobe softwares, like an agent controlling the entire Adobe software. How cool is that? So we are working towards that, and we are also in talks with Masumi, Patrick's project, in order to monetize certain agents that we have been building on the sidelines. Now coming to the token, since a lot of that we have is ready, and we are continuing the development. We don't have any immediate plans as of right now. As I said, we are focusing much on the governance side of things for the next couple of months. But the token will be there, like the on paper, but we don't have any specific plans on how we are going to actually launch it. What sort of utilities will it be? I'm sorry, but you guys will have to wait a bit on that, until we just clear all of these things that are currently running, and then you can expect something. But yeah, we have not dropped the idea of token, so keep an eye on for that. And always, if you have any questions, feel free to come in our Discord, and ping anyone anytime, and we will be happy to assist you.
Nice. And I think when you guys eventually do a token again, whenever that is, they'll be in such a better position after having already done the governance hub and some of these other things that are like delivered products that people can use and pay attention to and enjoy. And I think they'll end up seeing the value of what you guys are building way more because they were able to interact with it hands on. Um, But yeah, dude, I think that's pretty much all the questions I had today. I really appreciate you coming on, and everyone that listened in today, feel free to check them out on X. And was there anything you wanted to say before we wrapped up the call today?
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm extremely excited for all the for the governance hub, especially, and for all the different agents. And we're also pretty much, trying to collaborate with our fellow AI projects also in the Cardano space. So you might see something around, on those lines as well very soon. But yeah, the idea and the vision remains same, bringing an intelligent, adaptive, user-centric experiences to not just Cardano but to the entire Web3 space. And in coming future, I just want people to remember Sync whenever they think about AI and Web3. So that's the real goal that we are working towards. And yeah, pretty optimistic about it.
Heck
And
yeah,
yeah,
dude.
thanks, Jason, for inviting me today. It's always great to talk to you. And
Yeah, it's nice catching up, man. And best of luck with everything. I'm excited for your governance hub to come out. And yeah, I think you've built something pretty cool. So I'll be staying tuned to it. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming on today. That wraps up today. And